Welcome to another episode of Reverse Ambition, a podcast that features those who follow their dreams with passion. My name is Kelsey Cooper, aka the Social Broker, and my next guest is a finance professional by day and a boxing enthusiast by night. He's about to open up, along with his partner, DC's first boutique fitness boxing studio offering music-driven, boxing-inspired group fitness classes featuring high-intense rounds on the Aqua training bag, functional strength and bodyweight training, heart-pounding playlists. Sounds dope, right? Well, regardless if you are a beginner or a professional boxer, come to his boxing studio, learn how to box, enjoy boxing, and enjoy the other young professionals within his community, within his studio. Please welcome Mr. Reggie Smith. What's up, brother?
What's good, man? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. Thank you for being a guest on Reverse Ambition. Your story is amazing.
Yeah, no, thank you for thinking of me, man. Like I'm honored that you would reach out for this, man. So thank you as well.
Yeah, man. What you do is an inspiration for this podcast, man. Someone who pretty much, did something all their lives, and now they're gonna take a leap of faith and bet on themselves. Without further ado, walk me through your journey, man. Take us through your journey in terms of where you went to school and where you grew up, so the people know your background, and then we'll eventually get to where you are right now.
Yeah. So I'm from the DC area. Went to Howard undergrad, graduated, moved down to Houston for a few years.
Why you went to Houston?
Yeah. So I was working, when I graduated, I worked for Enron. And so I was at Enron right before they blew up. And then when that happened, I moved to New York and started working in sales and trading at JP Morgan. And so I traded stocks for a couple of years and then kind of pivoted and moved into research, stock research. And so I've been doing stock research for the last 12, 13 years or so at JP Morgan in New York.
Okay.
About a year and a half ago, I left New York and moved back to DC. And now I work remotely for JP Morgan still, same role, but I do it from home. And I basically made the move so that I could launch and open my own boutique boxing gym.
Wow. So before you, how was New York? And then, how was your experience at JP Morgan, and why did you transition into, more research as opposed to, trading stocks and whatnot?
Yeah. No, so I mean, New York is dope. I mean, you know that we used to hang out together back in the day. So New York is great. But no, so when I started, it's funny, man. I was I graduated from college, and I had this vision of kind of what I thought Wall Street was like, and it was based on kind of movies. So like Boiler Room and Wall Street, and I kind of moved up there right after the tech bubble and all that stuff. And so like this whole notion and idea of like day trading was really hot. And it's like, oh, wow, you go work on Wall Street and you'll be day trading, and you'll be buying stocks and selling stocks, this and that. And when I got there, I realized that at least in the role that I was in, we weren't so much like buying and selling stocks for our own account. We were executing orders for other people. And so like it wasn't nearly as exciting as they make it out in the movies. And so I wanted to do something that was more on the, kind of idea generation side. So like rather than just like executing someone else's order, I wanted to be the one that was like saying, all right, I want to buy this stock and I want to sell this stock. And so moving into research allowed me to kind of get closer to that. And so like, in research, we basically analyze companies, analyze trading patterns, and give recommendations on stocks. So, we want to buy this stock or we want to sell this stock. And so that to me was more exciting than just executing in order. Like the analogy I would use, it's almost like, if you're a trader, it's like you're taking orders at the front of like McDonald's. And so somebody comes in, they want a Big Mac, you give them a Big Mac. I think of research is kind of being more like a chef, and you're coming up with the Big Mac or the McRib or, some other new item. And so, like, to me, that was more exciting than just kind of taking orders in the front of the house.
Okay. All right, Chef Smith. So what inspired you to like, move to DC, and what, after how long were you in New York?
Yeah, I was in New York, man, I think 15 years maybe.
Wow. So you
Yeah,
was
from
doing
'02 to
research.
17.
You were doing research or trading stock for 15 years
Yeah,
in New York,
yeah,
and
yeah,
and now you're back in DC, uh,
yeah.
working remotely. By the way, that don't happen to anybody. How the hell you were able to pull that off?
I don't know, man. I tip well or something. I don't know. No, I guess we'll get into it, but I was just able to kind of work that out. I think part of it was the fact that I had been doing what I've been doing for so long, and I do it fairly well, and so they were comfortable with me leaving New York City and still doing it and being able to deliver a quality product from home. I mean, like in reality, with the way telecommunications works these days, like you could pretty much do most anything remotely. And companies are increasingly kind of embracing that as almost like a benefit to working there. So I think, part of it was that.
So,
But to get to your,
so I was gonna say,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
technically, you basically left your job, but still getting a check.
Yeah,
Working
yeah,
remotely, like
yeah,
that's every entrepreneur's dream. Where,
yeah,
oh, I'm gonna
no,
go do my thing. I'm gonna do your thing as well. So still pay me while I still do my thing.
yeah,
That's
no,
genius, bro.
it would, no, I'll be straight up with you. Like it would be hard to do this without having a job, because this process of launching this gym, this has been over a 2-year process of kind of getting this thing going. And so like if I'd have quit my job 2 years ago, like I'd be eating bologna and ramen noodles and stuff like that. So now it definitely it's it's an ideal scenario. But I'll
Mm-hmm.
tell you this, man, and we were talking about it the other day. Like it's hard to juggle, a full time job and entrepreneurship, and I'll take it one step further. Like um, not to kind of glorify Wall Street, but like we don't work typical hours, and so like a standard day for us isn't 8 hours; it's 12 hours. It's sometimes 16 hours, and so it's not like I have a 9 to 5 and then can kind of work on Boombox on the side. It's a grind, man, and I've got I got the gray hairs to show for it over the
Right.
last year and a half trying to juggle the two. But yeah, to your point, having that income while you launch your business is yeah, like that's the dream scenario.
That's ideal, actually. That don't happen often. So, what inspired you? Okay, you've been doing finance for like 15 plus years. What inspired you to like open up a boxing gym, bro? Like what where that came from?
Yeah, right.
Like you
um,
got stressed out at a
yeah,
job.
yeah.
You
I mean,
trying to find
so
somebody to beat up on or something?
dude, let me tell you, man. So I mean, I think just culturally, if you work in finance in New York, like it's filled with kind of like A-type personalities, right? So everybody there, is there for a reason, like because they excelled, somewhere, in life, either that or they know somebody to put them on. I didn't fall into that latter category, so like, I've always been kind of ambitious and things like that, and so when I finished business school back in 2012, I'm like, all right, so what am I gonna do now? Like, I need a new challenge, and so, I'd always been a fan of boxing, and so I started boxing. And when I started, it was hard. I was terrible, And that kind of kept me coming back. And so it got to the point, where like I'm training 4 or 5 nights a week, 2 and 3 hours a night. And I would bring all of my equipment to work. And so I'm walking into JP Morgan headquarters with like boxing gloves and headgear, mouthpiece. And like my coworkers are looking at me like, yo, this dude is crazy. Like, what's going on? And so that went on for like years. And long story short, I met a few people in New York that owned kickboxing studios. And, it really opened my eyes up to like the business opportunity behind the martial arts. And so what I noticed was that whenever I would come home to visit my family, there weren't any like boxing studios or kickboxing studios, or there weren't many in DC. And so it's like, I look at New York and there's one on, damn near every corner. And I come down to DC and there's like one in the city, and the service there is kind of shoddy and it's not really clean. I'm like, all right, I can take this idea and do it down here in DC. And so like, if it works in New York, it'll work in DC. And so that was kind of the impetus for doing this in general. And then obviously, like if you've been on the job as long as I have, it's just, at some point you start thinking about, all right, like what's next?
Right.
And so that's kind of how I landed on how this kind of came to.
So you didn't see yourself, future like VP president at JP Morgan. You were like, finance is not my future. Boxing is. You didn't see yourself.
Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't. I think I decided years ago that like I wasn't interested in like being, I don't want to say a career because I pretty much am a career finance guy, but like, I didn't see myself being 60 doing the same thing. Like that just wasn't, I couldn't imagine going to work and analyzing stocks for the next 20 or 30 years. And so, funny enough, like when I was in business school, I took an entrepreneurship class. And so like I always knew.
Where did you go to business school, by the way?
Yeah, so I went to Columbia.
Oh, Ivy.
I went to
Okay.
Uptown. You call it Ivy, I call it Uptown.
All right. Whatever, brother.
Harlem, man.
Humility will get you nowhere, bro. Own that.
Nah, but no, so I took an entrepreneurship class, and I'm gonna tell you, man, like, going into it, I had this view that like to be an entrepreneur, you had to come up with some amazing new, concept or business idea. And that class really showed me that like there's money to be made in like mundane businesses. And so like you don't have to invent a Facebook to start a company. Like there's other things you can do. You could buy existing companies, or you could open a boxing gym. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't have to be some novel idea. But saying all that, I took the class and I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know, how that would manifest. And so, yeah, I mean, running my own thing was always kind of a goal. If that was the, that's the question.
You just had to find what you were passionate about to invest your all in.
Exactly.
All right. So you miraculously kept your job, moved to DC to open up, this gym. Walk me through the process in terms of where did you start in terms of identifying location? Did you put together a business plan, all that good stuff? Financing, all that.
Yeah.
Walk me through your process.
So no, it started as an idea. Me and I got a business partner, Angela, good friends. We've been friends for years, and she lived in DC, and we used to work out together whenever I would come home to DC or whatever. So we had this fitness connection. But we were.
Why you chose her specifically though? You work out with other people.
Yeah, it's funny, man. So it wasn't. So we were just talking one day, and like we both. She works in finance as well. She's a consultant, and like we were talking. We worked out. We were talking about like, kind of being sick of our jobs, right? And so I think again, like we both had this passion for fitness, and the idea of like opening a boxing studio we were kicking that idea around. This was more than 2 years ago. And, at that point, we weren't really sure what the concept would be. And we actually considered doing a franchise. And so, we looked at that process and we considered the cost of like basically buying someone else's name and then giving them a residual. And, we decided that, let's just create our own brand and do our own thing and not give a residual and kind of rock out like that. Now, the funny thing is at the time we didn't have a name or even really a concept, but we just started going down that road. And, I guess a few months after that, I came up with the name Boombox, and, we kind of built it, we built our marketing plan and how we wanted to deliver this thing. And, for the next, year or so, like we traveled all over the country. We went to London and just basically researched and experienced and tested out different boxing studios.
This is you and your business partner.
Yeah. So like, if you know me, anytime I travel, like I'm traveling with my boxing gloves. I'm gonna find a boxing gym, a kickboxing gym, or something in whatever city I go to. And so for a year, we basically did that, and kind of refined our concept. And from there, I moved to DC, and at that point, we hadn't nailed down a location. The location process was probably a 9-month process, and we looked at 10 or 15 different spots, and for different reasons, the deals didn't go through. We ended up finding a great spot over in the Navy Yard here in DC, and it was a great deal. Good landlord partner, and yeah, it was kind of one of those. It was really like a sweetheart deal. Like it was pretty amazing. The deal we were able to negotiate, and so from there we secured the lease, and we started our build out on the space in December. And so January we launched our marketing campaign, and we've been hitting social media and working through this build out, targeting a late May launch. And so that's the process that we went through.
Okay.
You asked about business plan, and I did write one. The funny thing is that, like, I wrote it less. Most people write a business plan so they can raise money. We were going to do this with our own money, and so like our business plan was more a plan of direction. So it wasn't like we were trying to sell ourselves to potential investors, but it was more just kind of mapping out our strategy and our approach and how we're going to target the market. And so we definitely wrote a business plan. Yeah.
So how are things going in line with your business plan? Is it exactly what you guys anticipated?
Yeah. So let me see. The concept, obviously, boxing for fitness is the concept, and that hasn't changed, but we've definitely kind of tweaked the delivery and the experience as we've tested and tinkered with different things. And so like, the base business is obviously boxing for fitness, but we've kind of pivoted more towards a music-driven boxing experience. And I'd say that's in the last probably 3 or 4 months as we've gotten closer to kind of opening up. As far as the other things, man, it's been an expensive ride. Like, it costs a lot to build out space, and
and you guys are self-financing.
Yeah. Like it's the ultimate bet, man. Like
that's like
I tell folks.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say. I tell people this is, I've bought stocks and things like that, but this is the biggest bet I've ever made in life. Like
wow,
the amount of money that we're putting into it. And I joke, I'm like, look, either we do really well or we got a great story to tell in the unemployment line. You know what I'm saying? Either way, it's gonna be it's gonna be a hell of a story to tell.
Basically putting your life savings and stuff in.
Yeah. I mean, if it don't work, I gotta keep doing this stock thing for
Wow. Well, you still got that
for
to
years.
fall back on.
Yeah, but no, it's gonna work, man. I think what we're building is gonna resonate with folks, and yeah, when you see it, you can be like, oh, all right, I see it, I get it.
Right, right. So, you say you guys are getting ready to launch in like May. So, how are things going? Keeping a full time job in finance, of course, and get building everything. How are you able to balance both? You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, man. It's uh, it's definitely hard. I mean, you gotta divide and conquer and delegate, and so like I've been kind of managing the construction build out, and she's been, kind of managing like our execution of like hiring trainers and training those trainers and dealing with the software company is going to give us our software that we're going to be running in the studio and things like that. So it's a matter of divide and conquer. We got someone that's running our social media. Like you can't if you're going to be a consumer facing brand, like you just can't do it all yourself. There's too many different roles that need different skills, and so like delegation and just kind of divide and conquer, and then trusting it that you got good people on your team that can execute and deliver on what they need to do.
Right. So your business partner's been pulling her away, huh?
Oh, no question, man. Like it's and it's funny because like I'm a finance guy, but like I'm actually like a creative caught in trapped in the body of a suit, right? And so like
Mm,
all of the creative ideas I come up with, and like she's the one that like puts them into practice, and so with her kind of consulting background, it's like, all right, we're gonna put some processes around A, B, and C, and putting structure in place, and like I'm just kind of running around with, oh, we'll do this, we can do this, we can do this, and this is how we're going to market it, and yada
right.
yada yada. And so we got good synergy that way. Yeah, and so like going back to when you chose when you're thinking about choosing a partner, like I didn't even realize this. I kind of just lucked into the fact that like our skill sets just match up
Complement each
well.
other.
Yeah. It was kind of fluky, but it works.
Right, right. So if you had to do it all over again, start over from school, would you still do finance or would you do something geared towards entrepreneur or something that you say you were creative, more creative?
Yeah. Um, I wouldn't change a thing. Like everything that I've experienced to this point has prepared me for this. You know what I'm saying? And so like, yeah, I wouldn't change a thing from going to Enron and that blowing up to working on Wall Street to business school to the people I met in New York. Like it all prepared me for this moment. So now I would still do it.
Right. All right. So one more question. Like what advice would you give anyone who's looking to take a leap of faith and follow their dreams and passion?
Yeah. So one, I mean, the first thing is kind of identifying that passion. And so like, don't, obviously we graduate from school and you got to get a job, but don't get so sucked into your job that you forget to kind of live and experience life, right? And so, I was able to kind of find boxing and fell in love with it. Like, so you gotta you gotta find that balance in your day to day so that you're not just a corporate drone or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So once you get that, um, that'll be a great outlet for life anyway, even if you don't become an entrepreneur. But I got a nephew that's like 24 years old, and I tell him is like, look, man, save your money. You know what I'm saying? Number one, if you're making 100 grand, act like you're making 80 grand and save that 20, right? And so I was able to save money over the years that allowed me to take this, kind of leap of faith. And so, if you're living right at your means, it's kind of hard to take a chance. And so, go ahead and sacrifice a little bit early on so that you can have this nest egg to kind of play around with later on. So that would be number two. And then number three, to the extent that you can kind of, start it out small scale and not quit your full-time job, keeping that steady income is comforting while you're trying to build whatever it is you're building, man. And so, I think those would be the three things that I would say to people.
So first thing, make sure you do something you're passionate about. Second is save your money.
Yeah.
And the third thing, keep your full-time job as long as you possibly can while pursuing your entrepreneurial endeavor.
Look at that, man. You said it in 10 seconds. It took me like 2 minutes.
Hey, I was just summarizing, man. I'm the professional here.
Yeah.
Yo, man. Yo, listen, that's been great advice, bro. Been great talking to you. We've been talking about 25 minutes now. Anything else you want to add on to your experience? Like, you're supposed to launch. First of all, what is the official name of your company? We talked around.
Yeah, that's what we should have started, man.
You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, that's the best part. Yeah, so the boxing gym is called Boombox, and it's basically a homage to old school hip hop. Boombox is music and boxing. And so the image that I had in my head when I thought of it was kind of Radio Raheem from Do the Right Thing, So if you see our marketing, it's very heavy on boombox radios and Kango hats and gold chains. But the concept is basically music and boxing. Boombox.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. And your target audience is
So it's everybody. I mean, if you're young professional is kind of where we're targeting, but our mission is basically to bring the health and wellness benefits of boxing to the masses. And so, historically, you'd have to join a gritty boxing gym to kind of get that, get that experience. And it can be intimidating. You walk into a gym, you got pro fighters in there. I know definitely in New York, I experienced that. And so we wanted to create a safe space for folks to go and kind of learn boxing and do it in a non-judgmental way, and reap the health benefits. You look at boxers and most of them are very lean, great cardio, all that stuff. And so we want to give that to people, and make that available to folks.
Okay. So you basically want people like you, pretty much, was working ridiculous hours on your job, and then they were looking for an outlet, to relieve that stress. You found boxing,
Absolutely.
You were horrible at first, and then you keep going at it, and then you became good. Now you're about to open up your damn boxing gym. So basically you want a bunch of copies of you, bro, as your customers.
Yeah, no, it's and you kind of alluded to it too, but if you've never hit a heavy bag, at the end of the day, it's a great release, man. It really is. Just to, you had a long day and you just want to go in and listen to some dope music and just beat on the heavy bag, and then when you're done, you just leave and you go home and you eat. It's a great outlet. And so, when we talk about the health benefits, it's, obviously the fitness, the strength, the toning, the fat loss, but also the mental
toughness.
Mental toughness, but also that release, because we got stressful lives, right? And for 50 minutes, you can kind of zone out and just vibe out with the music and release some of that tension and frustration, which is important.
Listen, I think you're going to get a lot of customers because, we all get stressed out on a 9-to-5 job because we're working with somebody else and they're pushing us to make them money. So we all crying. So we need that outlet. So I look forward to Boomboxing, bro.
Yo, in fact, here's the thing, man. Here's my challenge to you. I want to train you, man. I want to teach you how to box.
Yeah, I've been going to the gym, so, I'm down.
Listen, I can get you right, man. I get you right. We'll chronicle it and document it on social media.
Oh, that would be dope.
Listen, you could be the next great Instagram boxer. That's my word.
I'll take it with the footwork and everything, bro.
All that, man. I got you.
Okay, because I see some Instagram videos. shaking and jiving and all that.
Yeah, man. Listen, I got you, bro.
All right,
I got
cool.
you. I'm about to have you. You're gonna be crushing it, man.
All right. Y'all heard it. So gonna be a part 2 of this. Part 2 of Reverse Ambition. Me from a podcaster to a boxer.
My man.
All right, bro. We appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing your story and sharing your journey. I'm sure my listeners will be inspired. And, good luck with Boomboxing, bro. I think it'll do extremely well.
Yo, and before I go, I got to plug it. Check us out. We're on Instagram at boombox-boxing. Boombox_boxing. The website is boombox-boxing.com. Check us out. If you're in D.C., drop in, say what's up, tell me you heard the podcast. We'll give you a free class or something like that. But come through, holler at us.
All right. Appreciate it, bro.
All right, man.
All right. Have a good one. Peace. Thank you all for tuning into Reverse Ambition Podcast. It is really a pleasure sharing these amazing journeys with you. It may take some time for you to find your purpose and realize your dreams, or for your purpose and dreams to find you. When it happens, don't be afraid to pursue them. Be more afraid if you don't. Trust God, trust your journey, and most important, trust yourself, and it will all work out. Until next time, I am Kelsey Cooper, the Social Broker. Thanks again for listening.